hour on VTV News. Vietnam maintains positions as the attractive investment market. And Japan supports Vietnamese workers amid yen depreciation. In interwar news, Syrian opposition leaders' outgoing prime minister discuss transfer of power.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello, it's 3 p.m. local time in Hanoi, and you're watching VTV News. On Tuesday morning at the groundbreaking ceremony of the Gia Binh Airport construction project of the Ministry of Public Security, Prime Minister Phie emphasized that the Gia Binh Airport project in Bắc Ninh province will serve the training and combat readiness missions of the Vietnam People Public Security Air Force. The modern facilities and equipment will contribute to building a clean, strong, disciplined, elite and modern public security force. Prime Minister Phie directed relevant units to implement phases 1 and 2 of the project to ensure quality and timely progress and to urgently invest in the constructions of a road from Gia Binh Airport to Hanoi with a cross-sections of 80 to 100 meters, meeting 3 requirements. It should be the shortest, most modern and most beautiful route possible. Chaired by National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn, the National Assembly Standing Committee held the final meeting of 2024 on Tuesday morning. The chairman noted that the 2-day meeting would provide initial input on preparations for the 9 sessions. During the meeting, the Standing Committee will review 6 draft laws for inclusions in the 2025 Law and Ordinance Program and discuss 6 items related to finance and budget. Regarding laws passed at the 8 sessions, the chairman called for expedited preparations of guidance documents to implement new regulations swiftly, addressing socio-economic development needs. The Central Executive Committee is scheduled to convene in mid-February next year, followed by a National Assembly meeting in late February to consider amendments to several organizational laws. These amendments aimed at streamlining operations will affect the law on organizations of the National Assembly, the law on organization of the government, and the law on organizations of local government amended. Working with the Central Economic Committee on Monday morning, Party General Secretary Tô Lâm requested that the Central Economic Committees revolutionize their thinkings in organizations to meet the requirements of the present day.
Affirming that the Central Economic Committee has made important contributions to the country's development during the nearly 40-year journey of renovation, Party General Secretary Tô Lâm said that the committee has not had many breakthrough development proposals. The party's General Secretary said that one of the major challenges in the new economic period was how Vietnam could escape the middle-income trap and narrow the development gap with other countries.
Without innovation in thinking, even if we adjust the development system, we cannot create a breakthrough. We must have new people with fresh thinking and a system that reflects this to have new thinking. No matter what the system is, if people still have the old way of doing things, they certainly will not be able to produce good and effective outcomes.
Party General Secretary Tô Lâm also emphasized that the country's development requirements in the coming period require a revolution in streamlining the organizational apparatus. This is very difficult and also very sensitive.
The Central Economic Committee's role is very important. It cannot be abandoned, but it must be restructured to improve efficiency and quality of operations, worthy of the party's leading strategic advisory body on socio-economics. Is there a need for an industrial or agricultural department? How can we meet the task requirements?
General Secretary Tô Lâm emphasized 6 key requirements and tasks that the Central Economic Committee must focus on implementing in the coming time. In particular, the Central Economic Committee needs to revolutionize its thinking and organization to streamline the political system. The apparatus must be compact and secure the involvement of the country's leading experts. The onus is to find people, not people looking for jobs.
According to the foreign investment agencies of the Ministry of Planning and Investment, international organizations continue to view Vietnam as an attractive investment market with strong growth prospects. Moody's and S&P considers Vietnam as one of two Asian countries showing stable and positive trends in long-term credit indicators. HSBC recognizes Vietnam as an attractive destination for foreign enterprises, while Jetro ranks Vietnam as the second most attractive investment destination globally and the first in Asia. The country's appeal is further demonstrated by 90% of German enterprises planning to expand their operation in Vietnam. Additionally, the Netherlands and Belgium are increasing their investments in Vietnam, focusing primarily on technology and renewable energy sectors. The United States is Vietnam's largest pepper export market, reaching more than 67,800 tons, up 40%, and accounting for 29% of Vietnam's total pepper export in the past 11 months, according to data from the Vietnam Pepper Association. In the past 11 months, Vietnam pepper export reached about 235,000 tons, with a total export turnover of $1.2 billion. Although the output decreased, the value increased by 46%. After the United States, Vietnam main pepper export markets are the UAE, Germany, the Netherlands, South Korea, and China. After 11 months, two-way trade turnover between Vietnam and China reached $185 billion, according to the General Statistics Office. By the end of 2024, trade between Vietnam and China is expected to hit $200 billion, a record high that represents nearly one-quarter of Vietnam's total import-export turnover. Currently, agricultural products remain Vietnam's primary export to the Chinese market. Notably, Vietnamese durian and dragon fruit are very popular among Chinese consumers, with these imports from Vietnam making up approximately one-fifth of China's total agricultural import from ASEAN. Vietnam's wood and wood products export are projected to exceed $16 billion in 2024, with around $9 billion heading to the U.S. However, significant changes loomed as President-elect Donald Trump takes office in 2025. Vietnam wood industry will need to adapt swiftly to meet these markets' green standards.
Installing solar panels on roofs. All forklifts have switched to electric vehicles. These are the solutions this company is quickly implementing to meet European green standards and the U.S.-Vietnam Sustainability Agreement. The company also ensures reliable wood sourcing.
We are implementing Forest Stewardship Council, certified forest planting, and collaborating with companies that source wood from certified forests.
The U.S. is considering tariffs of 15% to 20% on imported goods, with some markets potentially facing rates up to 60%. Vietnamese wood businesses must therefore meet the strictest export standards.
With strong support from the new government for protecting domestic industries, the U.S. will likely continue considering tariffs on imports. Vietnamese businesses need to focus on sustainable production and social responsibility.
To meet market demands, the Vietnamese government has introduced Decree 120, which classifies wood processing and export businesses. Companies meeting high standards can now benefit from streamlined export procedures.
Decree 120 classifies businesses and closely controls imported wood materials. The wood industry will hold seminars on business classification and sustainable wood uses.
While these measures increase business costs, they are essential for establishing Vietnam's wood industry as sustainably focused for the long term.
With Lunar New Year approaching in 2 months, Ho Chi Minh City is already bustling with festive shopping. Consumers are embracing simpler date preparations, shifting toward practicals, health-conscious, and budget-friendly products.
While this family traditionally traveled during Tet for relaxation, this year they are staying in Ho Chi Minh City. Their shopping priorities have shifted to everyday essentials like spite-filled gift baskets, items that are both appealing and practical.
Items like sugar, rice, and sauces are in high demand for their practicality during the holiday cooking season. So I think it just makes more sense to buy these products.
Retailers have reported a significant decline in demand for traditional items like beer and conventional sweets. Instead, unique treat and health-focused products have gained popularity.
We're choosing healthier options like cereal-based confections, and we're more mindful of costs given the current economic challenges.
Understanding this shift in consumer behavior, businesses have adjusted their supply strategies. For instance, some suppliers have increased their stock by 20% for the Lunar New Year, focusing on essential and price-stable items.
Our gift baskets include practical items like cooking oil and fish sauce, with special Lunar New Year discounts to ensure affordability and quality.
Experts forecast a 5% increase in Tet 2025 consumer spending compared to last year. However, the fast-moving consumer goods sector has shown no growth, with sales volumes remaining flat for 4 consecutive quarters. Retailers have rolled out aggressive promotions, including 50% discounts and buy one, get one free offers, hoping to boost sales by the end of December.
And before moving on to some other news, let's take a look at foreign exchange rate for today, December 10th. Coming up next on VTV News, Japan support Vietnamese workers amid yen depreciation. And Long An innovate tourism by blending heritage site with educational experiences. The third Circular Economy Forum 2024 recently opened in Hanoi to accelerate Vietnam's transitions to a circular economy. With the theme From Plan to Action, the forum aims to address Vietnam's modest progress in implementing circular economy practices. In addition to analyzing current policies and orientations, the forum emphasized the need for specific implementation guidelines and regulations. Through plenary sessions and 3 thematic workshops, participants explore the private sector role in circular design, sustainable production, and waste management. The initiative focuses on plastic, textiles, and beverages with the ultimate goal of transforming circular economy plans into practical reality. Consumers increasingly favor high-quality, safe agriculture products, especially organic ones. Building on its natural advantages, Cao Bang Province has promoted organic farming models, particularly focusing on spices. This initiative has created a new path for agriculture economic development in the region.
The star anise tree has long been a source of livelihood for Thang's family, requiring minimal care while generating over $3,900 USD annually. Seeing this success, his family is now expanding their growing area and adding cinnamon cultivation for additional income.
After 8 years, the star anise tree begins to bear fruit. The government provides saplings for planting cinnamon, and it takes about 10 to 12 years to harvest.
Leveraging its native crops, Takan District in Cao Bang Province produces various organic spices, including turmeric powder, lemongrass, chili, cinnamon, and star anise. 2 years ago, more than 1,700 households achieved organic certification for nearly 1,500 hectares cultivation, boosting their brand value and ensuring sustainable farming practices.
Residents must strictly adhere to organic production principles, especially by not using herbicides or chemical pesticides. These principles are encouraged among farmers through training sessions.
Thạch An district will continue to strengthen communication and encourage residents to follow the planting process and care for crops according to international standards. Some areas with ineffective crops will be converted to new plantations.
Calbang has established a production linkage model that provides farmers with technical support, quality control, and guaranteed product purchases. These locally produced goods are now being exported, helping reduce poverty and diversify the region's economy.
The Japanese yen depreciation and rising prices are affecting Vietnamese workers in Japan. In response, many Japanese companies and labor unions have implemented support programs to retain these workers. More on the following story.
During Vietnamese Labor Day in Japan, major Japanese companies and labor unions introduced support programs to retain Vietnamese workers. The programs include annual salary increases, free meals, housing assistance, utility cost coverage, and help with document processing fees.
We employ around 100 Vietnamese workers, gradually increasing wages for interns with 3 to 5 years of continuous work based on performance evaluations, ensuring they exceed Japan's minimum wage. We also provide subsidized accommodations to ease their financial burden.
The company has supported me with housing costs and helped me with documents that I didn't fully understand due to my unfamiliarity with Japanese law.
Japanese labor unions are strengthening communication with Vietnamese workers to identify their challenges and propose solutions to their employers.
Our union currently manages 1,500 Vietnamese interns and has received a total of 6,000 Vietnamese workers to date. Due to the yen's depreciation, we identify issues monthly and work with companies to resolve them, ensuring better living conditions for them.
Japanese officials hope that new labor laws, scheduled to take effect in June 2027, will benefit foreign workers by tackling high brokerage fees and illegal recruitment practices.
Human development has always been a central focus in Vietnam's development strategies, implemented comprehensively across all socio-economic fields, thus laying a solid foundation for protecting human rights. In 2024, amid global turbulence, Vietnam continues to make steady progress in ensuring human rights with notable achievements.
The poverty rate has decreased from 58% in the early 1990s to just 1.9% in 2024.
Vietnam's participation in the Global Alliance Against Poverty at the G20 summit underscores the country's determination to tackle new challenges in global poverty eradication. The nationwide campaign to eradicate temporary and dilapidated housing by 2025 is another example of Vietnam's consistent policy of leaving no one behind. According to the UNDP resident representative in Vietnam, Vietnam is a leader in ASEAN adopting multidimensional poverty measures, which include factors such as access to healthcare, education, sanitation, and clean water. Vietnam is also one of 25 countries that have reduced their multidimensional poverty index by 50%, according to a recent report published by the UNDP and the Oxford Poverty and Human Development Initiative. In 2024, facing the severe consequences of climate change, particularly droughts and floods, Vietnam responded quickly and effectively to protect human rights in emergencies.
The government leadership and the authorities for placing a lot of emphasis on disaster risk reduction and climate change mitigation measures in this country. We have seen, for example, when Typhoon Yagi was coming, there have been very strong forecasting mechanisms in place to prevent and raise awareness of communities to protect them from disasters.
In 2024, Vietnam is ranked high in the Human Development Index, having increased by nearly 50% from 1990 to 2022, in 2024, Vietnam implemented 271 out of 320 recommendations in the United Nations Universal Periodic Review Report, the highest rate ever. As a United Nations Human Rights Council member for the 2023 to 2025 term, Vietnam has led many important initiatives to ensure human rights.
It's important to have an emerging powerhouse in Southeast Asia like Vietnam represented in the Council. But also for us, having Vietnam as a Human Rights Council member gives further strength to that cooperation that I was talking about to really implement Vietnam's human rights commitments in the country.
The year 2024 marks significant achievements in protecting and promoting human rights in Vietnam. These accomplishments reaffirm Vietnam's strong commitment to safeguarding human rights while also enhancing the country's reputation as a responsible nation actively contributing to global development issues.
Long An province is home to 126 cultural relics of various types, including 21 nationally recognized sites. In recent years, the province has worked actively to preserve and promote its cultural heritage. Through combining educational activities with sightseeing tours, Long An effectively teaches historical knowledge to young people while developing the tourism potentials of its rich network of historical sites.
This was a recent field trip by students from Nhật Tảo Secondary School to the Vam Nhật Tảo Vam relic site in Tân Trụ district.
I learned so many valuable lessons on this field trip. It was fun.
I'm so proud of my hometown.
Heritage tourism has become central to Long An's tourism strategy. From January to September 2024, 216 schools organized heritage tours throughout the province, drawing more than 67,000 students.
These visits to historical sites not only educate students about local history, but also inspire a sense of pride in the nation's heroic past. This is also a chance to promote local tourism.
Hundreds of thousands of students who visit the relic will serve as ambassadors for the province, sharing their experiences and helping to promote Long An's image both domestically and internationally.
To enhance visitor experiences, especially for young people, Long An has embraced modern technology in tourism. The province offers 360-degree virtual tours featuring videos, audio guides, and detailed historical site reconstructions to create immersive experiences. Visitors can access comprehensive information about sites with a simple QR code scanned.
Digital technology has proven effective in promoting Long An's cultural heritage and people to a wider audience.
In the first 9 months of 2024, nearly 30,000 visitors explored the province's cultural and historical landmarks. The province is positioning these sites as key tourism products, playing an essential role in establishing Long An as a premier heritage tourism destination.
Coming up next in World News, Syrian opposition leaders, outgoing Prime Minister discuss transfer of power. And Hamas accept preliminary Gaza ceasefire proposal. A power transition is underway in Syria after opposition forces took control of Damascus. On Monday, Syrian Prime Minister Mohammed Qayan Jalali held first meetings with Ahmad Ansara, leader of the opposition group Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, to discuss the political transition. Prime Minister Jalali affirmed his government was ready to hand over power in a peaceful manner, noting that cabinet members continue their duties to maintain national security. Ansara and Jalali worked through the night to coordinate the transfer of power, with Ansara pledging to restructure the country. Jalali government will remain in office until the transition is complete. Hamas has agreed in principle to an Egyptian's proposals for a 30-day truce in Gaza and the release of hostages seized from Israel last year. Local sources report that Hamas leaders have submitted a list of hostages they plan to release in a swap with Israel. This headcount marked a shift toward releasing some hostages under Egypt's proposed truce plan, which include delivering humanitarian aid to Gaza and Israel's gradual withdrawal from the Philadelphia corridor and Rafah crossing. This development comes after Hamas had previously rejected Israel's request for hostage information. The Netherlands imposed internal land border control with a neighboring country in the EU Schengen border-free zone on Monday. This measure is part of a wider cross-border criminal crackdown. The new border control measures will limit asylum seekers' permits to a maximum of 3 years, while severely restricting family reunification for those granted asylum. The controls will include random checks and mobile inspections of vehicles and passengers on international trains. The Netherlands is the latest EU country to tighten border controls to curb migration, following France and Germany. These controls will remain in place for 6 months. In Chungcheong Province, South Korea, visitors can step into a recreated versions of 1900 sold at the K-drama theme park, a haven for fans of TV dramas. As South Korean dramas gain traction worldwide, more tourists are designing their travel plans around their favorite shows.
Located in Nonsan, this park preserves the set of the acclaimed 2018 period drama, Mr. Sunshine. Visitors can glimpse into the past through replicas of early 20th century Seoul, featuring vintage streetcars and the iconic Buddhist bell.
An elderly visitor was brought to tears when he visited the Mr. Sunshine theme park. He told me how deeply the drama touched him and helped him understand the hardships South Koreans faced during wartime. Seeing the emotional impact of a film set on visitors has changed my perspective on the evolving demands and preferences of tourists.
Global viewership of K-dramas has soared in recent years, particularly in major markets like the US. Netflix reports that South Korean dramas now rank as the most watched non-English content on the platform. Psychologists suggest that watching K-dramas helps viewers reconnect with their emotions or process psychological traumas.
People have told me they love watching a Korean drama and know they're not going to see a graphic scene. That is actually very good for our mental health, just to see something comfortable and that our 5-year-old kid can watch by and we're not worried about, oh, there's a bad scene. And so that's pleasant too.
South Korea's emergence as a cultural powerhouse on the global stage has significantly boosted its tourism allure.
And now, as usual, let's continue with the weather forecast. And that's all the news for today. To rewatch the program, you can log on to VTVgo.vn or download our mobile application VTVgo. Thanks for watching and goodbye for now.